Welcome back to Radio Free Utobitha. Today we will be delving into our recent journeys into the Commonwealth, why they are happening at all, and what we hope to achieve by their undertaking. As always, I am joined by best friend Tabitha. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Rhonda. You look good.
Now, Tabitha, what is your unique perspective on the past few weeks?
Well, Rhonda, ignoring the fact that the passage of time is an illusion, the past few weeks have been filled with all of the action and drama I have come to expect from my life.
So I guess I should ask, where did it all begin?
Well, as you know, it was not too long ago that we were situated up at Black Mountain Radio Station in the Mojave Desert.
I remember it well.
Well, after the unusual intervention of a Good Samaritan courier, we found ourselves reunited with a dear friend.
It was Rhonda.
Yeah, the real one.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, but do carry on.
Well, to cut a long story short, some stuff happened. Maybe nuclear related. And we unfortunately, once again, became separated from our nearest and dearest robotic friend.
How horrible! You must have been beside yourself.
I'm still not sure I've completely recovered, Rhonda, though I do feel like I'm making good progress.
That is so good to hear. Anyways, you were saying?
Oh yeah! So, after a while of wandering aimlessly and unleashing all of my bad feelings on whatever unlucky creatures so happened to be out on a wasteland wander, I began to clearly understand where our new future would begin.
And where was that?
Well, I have this little scratch at the back of my head, like a maggot memory from ages ago, or like lifetimes in the past. And this little maggot whispered to me to say that we would find our fortune in the east.
How far east?
Very, very far.
And so what, you just set off?
After getting a few affairs in order, yes. Adventure was calling, and I was ready to answer.
Now that's determination. More after this.
Sugar bombs! It's the nuclear deterrent for your mouth.
I love the way that sugar bombs make my teeth tingle.
Boom! We'll drop so many of these bad boys on you that the only frosting they will need will be fallout from the nuclear winter. Get yours today!
Welcome back. Now, Tabitha, a question has been bugging me during the break.
Go ahead, hit me.
Yeah!
Great! Now ask the question.
I was just wondering, you said that you traveled to the east. Now, didn't the master expressly forbid travel to the east?
I'm glad you brought that up, Rhonda, as it's a gross misconception. While the master did tell us all what to think and to do at one time, which we all miss deeply, we now have the autonomy to do pretty much whatever we like, so long as it aligns with all the goals and feelings of best friend Tabitha. I mean, this extends to our geographical location, and I would like to think if the master was asked about it today, he would be thrilled that we were checking out new territory in his good name.
That makes sense, but that still begs the question. How did you cross some 2,739 miles through some of the harshest terrain known to man without succumbing to the many horrors of isolation, mauling, and general bloodshed.
I don't really want to talk about it, Rhonda, but let's just say it involved bashing a lot of heads.
Such remarkable fortitude. More after this. Welcome back. So before the break, we learned how you first came to the Commonwealth. But I was wondering, just what happened next?
Well, Rhonda, we fell in love.
Do tell!
Well, it took me by surprise as much as anyone, but this human lady called Nora. Well, what can I say about Nora? I guess the most important information is that she had this robot that looked exactly like you, Rhonda.
Hot crickets!
It was no replacement for the original, obviously, but I found myself once more head over heels and talking about settling down.
And what of the human?
Well, I decided, in all my ambivalence, to allow Nora to stay. I'm not sure Rhonda would have had it any other way.
And that's when you met the child, yes?
Yes, the child.
And what was that child called?
Little Tabitha Jr.
Yes, little Tabitha Jr. So, I'm just wondering, best friend Tabitha, could all of this be some kind of weird fever dream?
Oh, it certainly could be, Rhonda. It certainly could be.
And now for a quick break.
Hello, I'm Andy Smitkins, and I'm here to tell you about Doghouse. Doghouse has been making top quality dog food for generations now, and we need your help. Times have been rough for all of us recently, and in the world of canned dog food meat production, that is doubly true. That's why we are now asking for local donations of meat or other meat-like substances, no questions asked. Just go on down to your local dispensary and make a little dog's life happier today. We all love our pets. Show us how much you love yours by giving us your surplus meat. Doghouse. Meat from animals, for animals.
We're back! We've been talking about Tabitha here's vast achievements since coming to the Commonwealth. So, the child.
Yes, so, Nora had a little human child. Ugly little gremlin. Smelly. I decided to take the little wretch on as my own, out of mainly pity.
How generous of you.
Unfortunately, that generosity was not repaid. The little blighter turned its back on us and ran off with some hired gun and a scientist. They even took out Nora. I bet they'd planned it all along.
That's terrible. And where did all this happen?
Oh, in an old vault. I forgot to mention. I was frozen in a pod underground for a while.
That's some pretty important information to leave out.
Yeah, well, the whole experience was unduly stressful, if I'm totally honest. I certainly wouldn't recommend my stay there to anyone in the market for a cheap getaway.
And so, after the little tyke betrayed you, then what?
Well, naturally, I broke out of my restraints, pilfered the surrounding area, and hopped out of the big metal hole and back into the loving embrace of ultraviolet rays.
What marvelous perseverance! You truly are a role model of our times. More after this.
Hello, it's Andy Smitkins again. Oh, sorry, you've caught me at a bad time. It's no worry. I'm just tucking into the brand new Doghouse human food range. After years of stagnation in the canned pet food department, we've decided to expand and offer our tender beef stew to the human market. We all know you've been eating it anyways, so now do away with the shame and hold your human food branded can up high. So for meal times, it's time for you and your pet to both tuck into Doghouse. Terms and conditions apply. Doghouse waives all responsibility regarding personal, nutritional, and dietary needs.
Welcome back. So, upon having escaped a deep and chilly metal hole in the ground, where did your attention turn next?
Well, it turned, as it often does, back to home.
Ah, home. And in this case you mean
Nora's residence,
of course.
I figured should Tabitha Jr. have planned this all along, they would probably have left some evidence regarding their master plan somewhere in that humble abode.
My bet is in the crib.
So anyway, I picked myself up and trekked back into town.
And what did you find?
Well, Rhonda, it was nothing short of a miracle. But upon my return to the neighborhood, there she was. The metallic love of my life, Rhonda.
This is the new Rhonda who had once belonged to Nora?
Pah! This metal murder house never belonged to anyone. They were their own person.
Too right.
Anyways, after a deeply emotional embrace, we set about looting Sanctuary.
Sanctuary being the neighborhood Nora lived in, yes?
Yes. Well, anyways, after a bit of digging, and a little bit of arson, and no small amount of murder, Rhonda suggested we seek out our fortune in Concord.
I certainly did.
This was, of course, after me briefly serenading them with a song so sweet it put sugar bombs to shame.
And we have that song right here for you now. Meat Dog, play the tape.
Rhonda, is it just you and me in the wreckage of the world? That must be so confusing for a metal girl.
Don't worry, I will stay here right with you. This radiated world's the place for me and you.
I'm feeling alive.
And I'm totally crazy. And I'm here to save you.
But who's going to save me?
Please forgive me for the things that I do.
I can feel the bloodlust.
Tabitha. I can feel myself slipping away. These batteries may not last another day.
That happens, I will carry you around. And if I ever lose you,
I'll be found. This world is empty and wild.
it's driving me crazy. But I'm here to save you.
And who's going to save me?
Please forgive me for all the things I might do.
When I can't remember you.
Please forgive me for all the things I might do.
When I can't remember which is me and which is you.
Rhonda. 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 I love you, Rhonda.
I can see now why I suggested you take this professional.
Thanks, Rhonda.
So now you're on your way to Concord. What happens next?
Well, that takes us to here, to the Red Rocket radio station, where we met Meat Dog and decided to set up shop, re-establish Free Utobitha, and change this humble landscape for the better. We've been sporadically moving in our old stuff bit by bit.
And it's looking just lovely, folks. I especially like what you've done with the bags of meat.
Thanks, Rhonda. It's good to really invite super mutants into a space by making them feel at home.
And so, that's the plan then. Invite more super mutants to reside in this newly founded utopia on a hill.
Absolutely, Rhonda. I'm not one for sequels, but I've got a feeling that Free Utobitha 2 is going to be every bit as successful and fantastic as the first iteration.
And would you have a message for any potential newcomers to Utobitha?
Well, if you are a super mutant, dumb or otherwise, you should quit playing around and get over here. We will come to find you otherwise.
And anything else?
Well, I politely request that everything else stays the heck away.
Well, that's that, folks. Adventure, new beginnings, and old love. And with that, we have run out of time. I'd like to thank best friend Tabitha for being here.
A pleasure.
Now, we're getting close to our 10 subscriber special. So if you do have any questions you want answered by best friend Tabitha or myself, please leave them in the comments. I'd also like to invite all of you to subscribe and whack a bell or whatever. Remember to tune in next week for more Radio Free Utobitha. Have a wonderful day.